many of you have put yourself in an uncomfortable position because you did not say what you really felt? That happened to me on my first job out of college. I was a marketing analyst for a high-tech startup that processed data for Big 8 accounting firms, corporations, and the financial industry. As an analyst, I reported to the vice president of marketing. The company was nearing an initial public offering, and one of the key metrics to valuing the organization was market potential and market share. Hence, the COO asked the vice president of product development to request that marketing get started on this project immediately. Instead of going to my manager, John came into my tiny little office the size of a postage stamp and demanded that I drop everything and get started on the project. John, who was even shorter than me, acted like a little Napoleon. I was new to the organization. I had my dream job, and I was excited about the prospects of advancing my career. My assignment required that I pull data from various sources and input it into a new software program called VisiCalc. Over the Christmas holidays, from 6 a.m. to 12 midnight, I learned the new spreadsheet and entered data. Then John made me come into the office on January the 1st and present my findings because he said the project was time sensitive. This is how I felt about John. Over the years, I learned my mom had great business skills. For heaven's sake, she became the first woman vice president at the largest bank in Dallas. I told her that I let myself be taken advantage of by the little Napoleon because I did not say what I really felt. She told me that over the years, the bank offered courses on leadership and communication and suggested that I go to the library and find out how I wanted to communicate. There was no internet at the time, and the library was freezing. I learned there are 4 types of communication style in business: passive, passive-aggressive, aggressive, and assertive. I was a passive communicator because I shied away from expressing how I really felt. I wanted to be assertive because that meant I could express myself effectively and stand up for my point of view. My first big aha of being assertive involved another confrontation with John, the Napoleon. This time he wanted to build a custom sales tracking system to track sales performance and commissions because there was no CRM solution on the market at the time. I asked John if he had spoken with my manager. He said, "No, I've got my marching orders from the COO, who both your manager and me report to." I told John I would have to speak with my manager as my heart pounded with fear about what might happen. John's face got beet red, stormed out of the office, slammed the office door, and knocked my only picture off the wall. In the meantime, I spoke with my manager, and I suggested that since I did not have systems architecture or programming experience, that I recruit a couple of people who had these skills. She agreed. I spoke with a couple of folks And they agreed to help as long as their departments got equal credit for the project. The next morning I spoke with John and I asked if I could have 2 people help me. He said, no, it'll take too long with more people involved. I described my partner's skills in that we felt confident we could implement the new system in 8 months, beating John's timeline by 2 months. He seemed curious and agreed to meet. With blackboard diagrams, we described the design of the system and the steps involved to go live in 8 months, beating John's timeline by 2 months. In fact, we got the system in place in 7.5 months, and with a couple of tweaks, it worked right the first time for the sales organization to use. In closing, the prospects of advancing my career impelled me to gain some backbone and stand up for my point of view by being assertive with John. The vice president of sales noticed and asked if I wanted to join his sales team and make more money. Who would have thought John the Napoleon would be the catalyst to help kickstart my sales career, and as a result, all the many blessings I've received? How are you communicating, and how is it helping you win?